welcome to our Year 9 virtual welcome. My name is Mrs Jones and I am the Year 9 strategy leader, and I'll be supporting your child throughout Year 9 this year. So, how I can help? I work alongside of the house teams and the SLT senior leadership team in order to support your child, but I focus solely on the academic success and their academic attainment throughout this year. So that might be their target grades, their effort, and just generally how they're getting on across their class subjects. Alongside of that, I've planned their PSHE curriculum for Year 9. So they are working through a set of resources that I've created in order to support their development this year alongside of the other year groups following on. So just an overview of what this Year 9 will entail for our children here. It's making sure they're choosing the right options and supporting them with those option choices. Obviously Year 9 is a really big year. They choose their options for GCSE, Year 10 and 11. They get one-to-one support and guidance throughout that from their form tutor, from Miss Dawes in careers if they need a bit of support looking forward, and obviously us ourselves during assemblies and supporting them with some options and things like that they can choose. So it's preparing them for their future. They build on their employability skills within that because they're thinking about what's out there, where will these grades and where will these subjects take me, and just thinking about how they could get to those sorts of goals that they've got. And that follows in with our careers programme that I'll talk about a bit later. Their study skills and exam preparation, obviously they've got their Year 9 exams at the end of the year, and we have interim exams throughout the year that we need to support and offer them some advice and some study skills throughout the year. They'll be building on their Year 8 successes. Obviously during Year 8 they've been in lockdown and they've been working from home, but we need to see the progress they've made during that time and then build on any gaps or any progress that they've made during that time. And then finally, encourage as much extracurricular, but until we know what activities we can do during this period, at the moment that's just a little bit on standstill. As soon as we've got some more information, we will be sharing that with you. So, what we can expect from Year 9 is there will be an increase in subject difficulty. Obviously they're building on things they've learnt in Year 7 and Year 8. There's going to be an increase in homework, a development of critical thinking skills to solve unseen problems, recall old information, mastery of new information, beginning to plan for their future, and development of those employability skills that I've already spoken about. And crucially at the moment, I would say time management is going to be the main skill they're learning. We're asking the pupils to be really, really effective at making sure they've got their books, making sure they've got their equipment. We can't support in that way. They need to be on top of things for themselves. That leads me on to equipment. So equipment at the moment is vitally, vitally important. As teachers at the moment, we can't share our equipment out with our students. As much as we'd like to, it's not possible. So it's really important they have their reading books, their planner, enough pens, pencils, rubbers, rulers, calculators. I'm a maths teacher and a calculator is vitally, vitally important. If they haven't got one, I strongly recommend they get one because we will not be able to lend them out. And in some subjects that would mean they can't do any of the work for that subject. A glue stick, rather than having loads of free loose papers left, right and centre, and some coloured pens and pencils. Specialist equipment PE kit. Now obviously during the school day now, if they've got PE, they can come in their PE kits throughout the day for the time being. Their organisation, their planners looking like this year. So they've got a week view. We will be checking planners in form time. We encourage our form tutors to check pupils' planners, and we really would like to see parental engagement with that, signing their planners, writing messages for us so that we can respond to you and get to the bottom of any issues that the pupils might have. Our PHSE curriculum builds on the successes of Year 7 and Year 8, but is adapted to their age range. So autumn term they go straight into character development and character education, thinking about what their virtues are, what their strengths are. Then they move on to sexual health and contraception and relationships, which we feel at the start of the Year 9 is really, really, really important. It's quite a large unit, so it takes them right through to nearer Christmas, when they do a little bit of diversity before the Christmas holidays. In spring they then do careers and their future, which links really well with when they choose their options. In their PXHE double they'll be discussing their options, and they'll go away and do like a research activity on their careers to be mindful of careers and their options and what they're thinking of choosing. They then go into drug control and substance misuse, and then finally in the summer they look at their citizenship and living in a democratic society and what that means for us. Our journey, as we've said, continues from Year 7, Year 8, Year 9, Year 10, 11, and everything interlinks with each other. It spirals on the 5-year curriculum, and it builds on the learning of the years, and then obviously Year 10 and 11 will build on what they've learnt in Year 9. Thinking of success then, so what we consider success is exemplary attendance, 97% or above, being punctual to lessons as much as possible, where that's possible, punctual to school, being on time just generally means they're probably quite eager to learn, so that's really, really positive. Being organised with their equipment like we've discussed, completing any homework and meeting deadlines, attending extracurricular clubs when they're available, going above and beyond in all subjects. Our effort school average for a good is 2, but obviously we'd like to see as many students achieving a 1, which we would class as excellent and going above and beyond. Respond effectively to feedback received from teachers, from members of staff across the school, and just generally being a polite, kind and approachable person. Those sorts of people tend to do well in life, and we see it across the school that they're the ones that tend to really, really show successes and progress throughout a year. Attendance then, obviously, is a really, really key point across the school. As you can see, even just 98% to 100%, you're still missing at least 16 lessons throughout a school year, which is, when you sort like that, is quite a lot. And obviously the poorer your attendance, the more lessons missed, which will result in missed information, gaps in knowledge, and then potentially your child struggling in school, which is the last thing we want. Missing key information from the syllabus, as we've said, missing important deadlines, missing important information about post-16 and options after they leave here, and missing opportunities generally, missing their friendships, missing seeing staff information, key information that they need. And it's also punctuality that is included in references alongside attendance. Okay, so go for schools. You're probably already very much used to this after the lockdown period, but it provides you 24/7 access to your child's live data, which we would say is their target grades, their behaviour, what's been going on in school, their progress reports, so making sure that their timetable, their effort and everything is on there. Parental engagement, so should you need to change any contact details or information you need to share with us, you can log it through Go for Schools. And finally their homework is logged on there as well with their deadlines. There is an app that looks really, really good, so you can access their timetable, see what lessons they've got on that day, any homework and deadlines that is due, behaviour records, attendance like I've said, and finally their target grades, which are really, really important because we provide their current target grades and their current data, but we also give them a projected flight path for Year 11, so where we would hope them to be from now and where we hope that grade will lead them to Year 11, which actually sometimes can be a real positive so they can see where they need to get to in future. Finally, obviously we do need to touch upon it. There will be information from class teachers on there should your child go into self-isolation, or if we need to go into a second lockdown. All the class work will be there, set by teachers, and information on how and what to access during those periods of time. Hopefully that won't happen. The homework timetables are on the curriculum section of the website, so you will be able to find these. But homework is set so that teachers can't over-allocate pupils, so they're not inundated on a Monday rather than not having anything on a Tuesday. It's more staggered so that they're not overloaded. So as you can see, on Monday, for example, they're going to get English and maths homework set on a Monday. That might be every week, but by week it could change. We would expect these pieces of homework this year to take between 40 and 50 minutes to complete, which is obviously building on what it was from year 8. So last year pupils were issued with a knowledge organiser folder where they could store their knowledge organisers from each subject. They provide their students an overview of the current topic they're studying, and they can use it to work from home and support their learning throughout a classroom environment as well. They've been really, really positive. I think pupils have really, really liked them. They're also really good for their non-required work. We've been talking to pupils now for a couple of years about non-required work, where they can go above and beyond and support their learning in other subjects by just doing a little bit of extra work at home when they've got the time. It's optional, we're not enforcing it, it's not checked upon, and it is the responsibility of the student to complete. Obviously those students that do more work are probably going to do better in school as well, because they're reading around the subject and supporting their learning. For example, they could use their knowledge organisers and make some revision cards from them, reading through the topic they've covered in class and condensing it into notes. Just doing extra reading in general around the topic can be done independently, maybe given an article they can extend their learning with. Completing recommended non-required work. From maths, I know that there's extra non-required work set on Maths Watch that they can do. Obviously, we still study the 5-year curriculum. Everything they've learnt in year 7 is going to be built upon in this year. It's shifting away from the Key Stage 3, Key Stage 4 kind of environment, and they build on their skills and knowledge every single year. So obviously subjects and topics that are being studied this year in year 9 could still come up in year 11 and might not get touched upon again until year 11. So it's vitally important that your child is here every day, ready to learn and ready to take on that new information. We're still using the GCSE grades 9 to 1, 1 being the lower grade, 9 being the higher one. And you might find that your child has target grades between the 1 to 5 boundary of those grades, because obviously they're focusing on the year 11 GCSE grades rather than a year 9 Key Stage 3 level. So you might find that your child might be targeted to 3, which, don't worry, it just means that they're targeted this year for a 3, but by year 11 they might be striving to achieve a 4 or 5, etc. How can you support at home? So this is the main thing. I feel like this is really important for you guys. Encourage the use of their homework timetable in their planners, so they know when the homework is going to be set from each subject, so it doesn't come as a surprise. Spend 10 minutes a night reflecting on their day. Ask them to recall and describe 5 keywords they've learnt during that day. Because I find that at home you might ask, well, what have you learnt today? And they're just going to say, oh yeah, this and this. Well, actually, try and ask them a few more questions about that. Create a revision timetable together in preparation for future class tests and exams. That's really, really good. And there's some really useful websites to support that as well. And encourage them to make time for themselves by joining in any clubs they can do at the moment. Obviously, extracurricular, as we've said, is vitally important. It really helps friendships and their personal development. But from a school point of view, we'll keep you posted on when those clubs will be available again. And then finally, the careers programme. In year 9, they've got a chance to build self-esteem and confidence generally, because they're going to be looking towards their options and their future careers. We provide them chances. They've got a full career programme in PHSE, and then they've got chances within our assemblies and guest speakers to have interaction with a careers framework across the school. Just some key dates to share with you then before we leave you. Year 9 strategy launch for parents obviously is today. We've got the current effort grades and their data grades going through onto Go to Schools on the 25th of November. That's not too far away. There's also one in February, as well as one after exam week in the summer in July. The most important 2 dates we'd like to see as much parental engagement in as possible is the 11th of March for Year 9 Options Evening, where pupils get a chance to come and speak to their subject teachers and find out what their GCSE subjects will offer them. as well as the 25th of March there's the Year 9 Parents' Evening. But just watch this space on those 2 dates, because we're not sure yet how we're going to bring that into the school and have you all in regards to the COVID-19 restrictions. Just to say thank you for your support. Obviously you supported us all the way through from 7 to 8, and now we're in Year 9. If you've got any questions and you want to get in touch, you can speak to your child's head of household form tutor. The heads of house are there. It's Mr Amos, Miss Downing, Miss Ward and Mr Plant. That will be in regards to behaviour, attendance and welfare. For progress, effort, attainment or PSHE, RSE, obviously get in touch with me. My email address is ajones1@dormston.dudley.sch.uk, and then obviously if it's subject specific, speak to the head of department for that subject or the classroom teacher, and if it is SEND related, it's Miss Cooper, and her email address is found on the PowerPoint as well. Thank you very much for listening.